We're recording.
Okay, welcome to the Tuesday, February 9th, 2021 Olive Town Board meeting. Let's all join in the Pledge of Allegiance. Brian, you want to start? He's muted. Okay, I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for
which it stands,
one
one
nation,
nation,
under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Great. Welcome, everyone.
I'm trying to stop. There we go.
There we go. Okay. Well, here we are. It's Tuesday, February 9th. We got a lot of snow today, and we're having our Zoom meeting as usual because of the pandemic. Let's start out with the roll call, please, Dawn. You're muted, Dawn.
Board Member Bogus,
I'm here.
Board Member Kelder,
I'm here.
Board Member Ettinger,
Right here.
Board Member Reed,
Here.
Supervisor Sefranco.
I'm here. Okay. You all received the minutes for January's meetings, and I'd like to get a motion to approve those minutes.
I'll make the motion to approve the minutes.
I'll second.
All right, all in favor?
Aye.
It's so approved. Thank you. And we have a December 30th minutes correction. There's a budget modification 8010. Should be $3,771 instead of $5,871.
$3,871.
Oh, what did I say? Wrong? I'm sorry.
700, yeah.
Oh, yeah, $3,871. Sorry.
Yeah, nice catch. Whoever got that. I would have never seen that.
Janice,
Of course.
Of course, Janice got it.
in my defense, she came out and said, Dawn, my fives look like a three. She's
Right.
these look like a five. So,
All
so
right.
a motion for that, please.
I'll make a motion to make that modification. Do I have a second?
I'll second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Okay, we're doing well here. We're really moving along. All right, we had correspondence this month from the Catskill Watershed Corporation checking in on our annual maintenance report for 2020, requesting the report. If you recall, last year we contracted with Hydrovac to do the annual maintenance in the Boyceville stormwater system, and Brian did a visual inspection later in the year in September. So Hydrovac was in May, Brian did the visual, and I just sent all the documentation along with the balance in the fund that was requested. There's probably, it's close to 80,000, just shy of $80,000 in there. And we also received correspondence from R. Daniel McKay, who's Deputy Commissioner of the State Historic Preservation Commission, and just to let us know that the Al Held Home and Studio did receive recognition on the New York State and I believe the National Register of Historic Places. So that was something we talked about earlier in the year that we heard about, and that has been finalized. Budget modifications. I love this one. We need to transfer, I make a motion, we transfer $1 from 1990.4 contingency to A9040.8 workers' compensation. Do I have a second?
I'll second that.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? So moved.
A little tempting to oppose that one.
That's my favorite so far this year. I don't think we've had one that little. All right. I make a motion to approve the payment of the following audited bills, general fund vouchers number 6 through number 54 for $239,640.25. The highway fund vouchers number 1 through number 28 for $55,364.87. And the special lighting voucher number 1 for $129.63. Do I have a second for that motion?
I'll second.
Okay, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Aye. Any opposed? Great. So passed. We received cash in December 2020 for $123,535.83. And the interest received for December 2020 was $458.55.
Keeps coming
Moving
down.
on. Any questions so far? Comments? I don't want to move too fast for you guys, but I know if I slow down, you'll fall asleep out there. So.
Are we done yet?
Resolution number 2 of 2021, we discussed that at our workshop meeting last night. This is for a formal agreement for the Town of Olive Fire Department to participate in the Ulster County Mutual Aid Plan. We've been doing this forever, and this is a more formalization of that the town has to sign on to. So Resolution 2 of 2021, the resolution to approve the Ulster County Mutual Aid Plan, resolved that the Town of Olive approve participation by the Olive Fire Department in the Ulster County Fire Mutual Aid Plan as amended from time to time, and further certifies Ulster County through its Deputy Director of Emergency Services Fire Coordinator that it shall comply with the provisions of the plan, and be it further resolved that there are no resolutions in effect that restrict outside service and training by the named fire agency, and be it further resolved that there are currently no limitations, conditions, or restrictions on the fire agency from providing prompt assistance, and the Deputy Director of Emergency Services Fire Coordinator shall be notified in writing if any such limitations are imposed subsequent to the adoption of this resolution. And be it further resolved that the named fire agency shall respond to all calls for assistance from another fire agency through the Ulster County Communications Center, also known as UC 911, and be it further resolved that the Town of Olive hereby acknowledges and accepts its financial responsibility pursuant to applicable law, and be it further resolved that a copy of this resolution shall be filed with the Ulster County Department of Emergency Services. Do I have a second to move this resolution?
I'll second that.
Any discussion about this? Questions?
I have a couple comments.
Sure.
First off, last meeting, you guys asked for a mutual aid report from Chris Winnie, Fire Chief, and I got that. He dropped that off to me. For 2020, the mutual aid, they went to Phoenicia for 16 times, Woodstock 3, West Hurley 11, Fly Atwood 8, Cripplebush 2, for a total of 40. He has it on his report, but he just wants to let everybody know that they have assisted with the EMS at 39 Reservoir Road 19 times. Now, I talked to him, asked him a couple things he said, just so that you're aware, that when their mutual aid calls like to Shandaken are restricted usually to building fires and water rescue. To the Vly, it's restricted to building fire and auto accidents in half of the district. And in West Hurley, they respond to building fires during the day from 6 to 6 as needed. And he just wanted to express that not only if you guys don't sign this, then we don't get the mutual aid either. So he wanted me to let you know that. And he wanted me to tell you that that I know Scott was concerned about in a few years from now. He says there's always a time where when mutual aid is discussed among the fire companies, they come back to the Olive and say, this is what we'd like you to do. But they always have a chance to say no and revise that. So it's not like the county is demanding that they have to do everything in different areas. It's an agreement they sign up with, and they address each time if there's going to be a change. So just so you know, they're not going to be told they have to go to everything. It's an agreement made between them and whatever town. So I think that was all Chris had.
That's great information. Thank you,
Good.
Dawn.
Very
That's
good.
really, really good to know. Any other comments on this? Okay, we had a second, right?
Yes.
Yes.
Okay, you want to do a call on that?
Yes. Board Member Bogus,
Yes.
Board Member Kelder,
Yes.
Board Member Edinger,
Yes.
Board Member Reed,
yes,
and Supervisor Safranca.
That would be yes. Okay, thank you. Resolution number 3 is adopting the natural resource inventory for the town of Olive. We discussed this last night. I see Ingrid's here, and I don't know who else is here. I see Dan. And I don't know who else with your team is here. There's a couple of unknown people. But I do want to just commend you for the work. It is really something we're proud of. It is a document that will live in the archives forever in the town of Olive and will be referenced by the planning board and the ZBA and the town board and just about everybody. It's really a commendable piece of work. So thank you for all that you've done on that. We really do appreciate it. Any other comments?
Just as
Dan,
an
you're waving
aside-
your hand over there.
Yeah, as an aside, speaking about the planning board, that Steve Dibble invited me to the last planning board meeting where the Sailor Mill development was up. And so either the NRI or any of the board members who may have said something to him, thank you for that, they're now starting to include us in their meetings and, include the environmental concerns. So thanks.
And thank you. And we also, I spoke to Rebecca this morning. Are we working on the mapping to get it on the website?
Yeah, I already have most of the maps loaded to the website. It's not taking maps that are over 10 meg, even though it says it should be able to upload 500 meg. Talking to Pete tomorrow anyway. I already had a meeting about the new site. So
Okay.
I'll get that worked out. And then I just have to update the sheet of links to those, and we'll have them on our site, not on the box on Cornell's box.com. So,
Okay. And Dan, you're going to be working on getting the hard copy all together.
Yeah, I'm going to put
Research.
slip sheets in the hard copy and give 4 copies to the town offices and 1 copy to Jack Beerhorst, who is our
Oh, yeah. Great.
naturalist,
That's very lovely. Yeah, that's great.
About how many
all right.
pages is that for the inserts? Do you know?
I have to go back to the note Jim sent me. It looks like about 10 or so.
Okay.
Great. All right, let me read this resolution before I have to take another sip of water. Resolution number 3 of 2021, a town of Olive adopting the natural resource inventory for the town of Olive. Whereas the town of Olive Conservation Advisory Committee, it's actually council, we should change that.
Oh, sorry about that.
And the Natural Resources Inventory Committee has prepared, and that should be struck out too. I thought I edited this. Might have the wrong one. Let me start over again there. Sorry. Whereas the Town of Olive Conservation Advisory Council has prepared the Olive Natural Resource Inventory dated February 2021, the NRI, to assist the town, its various agencies and boards, and the public in identifying and considering important natural resources located within the town. And whereas the NRI includes maps displaying the town mineral, water, biological, and recreation resources and their significance to the Olive community, associated data, and a descriptive report summarizing the inventoried resources, findings, and recommendations. And whereas the purpose of the NRI is to provide information for comprehensive land use and conservation planning, and to allow natural resource information to be considered in local planning and zoning decisions. And whereas the NRI can provide information to designate critical environmental areas, develop and implement a municipal open space plan, amend existing zoning and subdivision regulations, assist in the evaluation of the effects of proposed land use and zoning changes, inform environmental review of development proposals, and document current conditions so changes over time can be assessed. And whereas the NRI was prepared by members of the Olive CAC at no cost to the town through a partnership with the DEC, Department of Environmental Conservation, Hudson River Estuary Program, and Cornell University, Ashokan Watershed Stream Management Program, and Cornell Cooperative Extension of Ulster County, and Ulster County Department of Environment. And whereas the adopted NRI will be available on the town's websites for access by the public, And whereas the adoption of the NRI is a type 2 action under the New York State Environmental Quality Review Act pursuant to 6 New York CRR 617.5 subsection C, subsection 18, for which no further action under secret is required. Therefore, be it resolved that the town board of the town of Olive hereby approves and adopts the Olive Natural Resource Inventory dated February 2021, created by the town's Conservation Advisory Council as an inventory of data collection identifying important natural and community resources within the town of Olive. And therefore be it resolved that the acceptance and approval of the NRI and any recommendations regarding municipal actions which may be taken as provided therein shall in no way be deemed binding upon the town's various boards or agencies with regard to present or future actions. By adopting the natural resource inventory, it is the intent of the town board that this valuable and comprehensive inventory of the town's natural resources be referred to often by the town boards, agencies, and the public to assist in the development, management, and protection of these invaluable resources. It is the further intent of the town board to periodically update and or amend this inventory every 10 years or as may be appropriate in the future. And be it further resolved that the town clerk is requested to upload this resolution and the NRI to the town's website and provide a copy of this resolution and website link to the members of the Town of Olive Planning Board and Zoning Board of Appeals and to the Ulster County Department of Planning. And be it further resolved that the town board requests the Conservation Advisory Council, you guys don't even know what your name is there, to present the NRI to the Town of Olive Planning Board and Zoning Board of Appeals, which presentation the town supervisor has determined shall count towards the training required by New York General City Law 27 parentheses 7-A and 8-1 parentheses 7-A. Did I make a motion for that? I'll make the motion to approve the NRI. Do I have a second?
I'll second that. Okay. you can
Okay,
have it.
you want to do that roll call there? Dawn?
Board Member Bobbis,
Yes.
Hello.
Board Member Kelder,
Yes.
Board Member Ettinger,
Yes.
Board Member Reed,
Yes.
Supervisor Sefranco.
Yes. That's great. Thank you, everyone.
Yeah, thank you, Dan and Ingrid.
Very
Great
good.
job.
Before we
job.
move on, can I just get, I see that there are some new faces on there, and I just want to get their names for the record. I see Andy and Nancy and Jerry have no last name.
Nancy, April.
It's
Hey, Nancy.
Hi.
Jerry Plotkin.
Hi, Jerry.
What is the last name?
Plotkin, Plotkin.
And Andy?
Andy Simon, like Simon.
Oh, your audio's not working very well there, Andy. We didn't hear you.
Yeah, could you throw that in the chat maybe, Andy? Thanks. And I'll get that to Dawn.
Thank you.
Thank you, Andy. And then you got Cynthia there. You see Cynthia?
Yeah, but her name is all there, so I wrote it down.
Okay, great. Oh, look, the names are.
There it is.
All right, we're moving on now, right, to resolution number 4.
Sure.
Okay. Thank you, everyone. That's a great resolution. Great piece of work. Resolution number 4 of 2021 is the Town of Olive introducing the Community Choice Aggregation Local Law for the Town of Olive. We discussed this last night, and this is a introduction to the law. We will introduce this with this resolution. The law will be distributed to the town board members after this and posted on the town website for public review, and we will schedule a public meeting for this. Did we do that already? We set a date, didn't we?
Yeah, we did.
We're gonna set the date tonight. You're gonna officially set the date tonight.
What's
Discuss
the date we said? Do you remember?
March 8th.
March 8th at 6:30.
Okay. All right. Whereas the town of Olive is interested in promoting energy efficiency, greenhouse gas reduction, and local renewable energy generation, and also in reducing energy costs for its residents. And whereas the New York State Public Service Commission in April 2016 authorized the development of community choice aggregation, CCA programs, which allows participating local governments to work together through a shared purchasing agreement to procure natural gas and/or electric energy supply on behalf of their residents and small businesses. And whereas community choice aggregation allows the exercise of local control to negotiate lower, more stable, but predictable energy prices, to increase the percentage of renewable energy in the fuel mix, to promote energy efficiency, and to encourage local renewable energy development and local job growth. And whereas the residents and small businesses that are not interested in participating in CA energy procurement are able to opt out and purchase their energy through Central Hudson or another energy provider of their choice. Whereas with a CCA program, Central Hudson will still provide delivery of electricity and will maintain the grid to ensure safe, reliable electrical service. And Central Hudson will provide service of last resort in the event of a CCA supplier, supplier does not perform. And whereas in order to create a community choice aggregation program for New York State's municipalities, the New York State Public Service Commission has to approve the creation of any new CCA district. And whereas a village, town, or city must pass the local law to establish participation in the CCA program. And whereas the town of Olive works to identify procurement opportunities to provide better service and lower costs to our residents. Now therefore be resolved that the town of Olive, the town board of the town of Olive introduces local law number 1 of 2021, a local law to enable community choice aggregation in the town of Olive. And therefore be it resolved, the town board of the town of Olive agrees to accept copies of the proposed law via email and have the town clerk post the email addresses of the town board members on the town office bulletin board. Anybody want to make a motion to move that?
I'll make that motion that we introduce
second?
the law.
I
I'll
see
second.
Victoria raising her hand.
Yes, I second.
All right, Dawn, you want to do the vote call?
Board Member Bogus,
Yes.
Board Member Kelder,
Yes.
Board Member Ettinger,
Absolutely, yes.
Board Member Reed,
Yes.
and Supervisor Sefranco.
Yes. Okay, thank you, everyone. That's great.
I got one more thing just for things. Ingrid, she has a title, right, Daniel?
Yeah.
What is her title?
I forget her position, but her primary organization is the New York State Department of Environmental Conservation.
She's
And
with the
the
Hudson River
official title as
Estuary
well.
Program, correct?
Yeah, well, she has positions at the DEC, at Hudson River, no, not at Hudson, but at Cornell.
Oh, okay.
Wait, yeah.
Okay, thank you.
Okay,
Yeah, her
and
title is Conservation and Land Use Specialist, Hudson River Estuary Program, Cornell and DEC.
Okay, thank you.
Okay,
okay, I'd like to make a motion that we set the public hearing for that local law to be, what's the date? I wrote down. March 8th at 6:30 PM on Zoom. Do I have a second for that motion?
I'll second that.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Very good. All right, we got the date set. The next resolution is resolution number 5 of 2021. We have been working with the Ashokan Watershed Stream Management Program to look at all of our stream crossings in town for the benefit of keeping New York City water clean, and also it helps the town infrastructure and properties in the town from flooding. So this is a resolution to approve the request for proposals that were sent out. What was that, last month, Brian? And they were analyzed by Ashokan Watershed Stream, and Brian and myself looked them over, and we chose MMI, Malone and McBroom, as the engineering firm for that RFP. They were not the lowest bidder. In fact, they were the highest, but we discussed that last night, and they had the best value, we felt, because the way the bids were presented, some were missing a lot of things that were in the RFP. Others were not quite as flushed out in the RFP. And we found the MMI to be the most complete, that we wouldn't incur any future overages on or anything like that. So that was our selection. So I will read resolution number 5 of 2021, approve Malone and McBroom as engineer for design of Red Maple and Bostock Road crossings for the Ashokan Watershed Stream Management Programs, Storm Management how do you say implementation plan? SMIP implementation grant, I should say. Whereas the town of Olive accepted the local flood analysis, Appendix C, Townwide Flood Hazard Mitigation Plan, FMP, on February 12th, 2019, and doing so made the town eligible for funding for structural and non-structural projects to improve flood resilience. And whereas the FMP identified stream crossings at Red Maple and Bostock Roads as areas of concern for flood mitigation efforts. And whereas on July 10th, 2020, the Town of Olive Highway Department submitted application to the Ashokan Watershed Stream Management Program for implementation grant funds for engineering design for the above mentioned stream crossings. And whereas a request for proposal was advertised on December 10th, 2020, with the Town of Olive receiving RFPs from 3 engineering firms by the deadline of January 6, 2021, and with the RFPs received and opened in the town clerk's office on January 6, 2021. And whereas 3 proposals were received and reviews as follows: Malone and McBroom, SLR, $145,660. The Chazen Companies, $58,800. And a Tie and Bond, $125,500. Therefore, be it resolved, after extensive review, the town, based on best value, approves the proposal from Malone and McBroom Incorporated in the amount of $145,660 as the engineering firm for the application to the Ashokan Watershed Stream Management Program SMIP implementation grant application. Do I have a motion to move this?
I'll make the motion.
And a second?
I'll second.
Okay. Go on, you want to take the roll?
Board Member Bogus,
Yes.
Board Member Kelder,
Yes.
Board Member Ettinger,
Yes.
Board Member Reed,
Yes.
Supervisor Sefranco.
Yes. Very good, thank you. I got all that off my plate. That's a lot of reading.
Thank you.
We discussed this last night. Drew is the head of a zoning committee that we formed last year to look at our town zoning and look at different aspects of it. And we're slowly starting to chip away at making some changes. And we also are looking at short-term rental laws in the surrounding communities and see if we want to adopt something similar. And so that's under evaluation. So Diana Carchidi is our town assessor, and she had expressed interest to join the zoning committee, which I think would be a very valuable asset. So I'd like to make a motion to appoint Diana Carchidi to the zoning committee. Do I have a second?
Second that.
Come on, Scott, it's your cousin, it's your niece. or
I'm
something.
gonna vote no.
Okay, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? Wow, crickets. Okay, so approved. We appointed Diana to the zoning committee. Thank Diana for us when you see her, please. She does a lot of stuff for the town. Announcements: the town offices and transfer station will be closed on President's Day, February 15th. Oh, wow, I didn't know that. That's great. And
That doesn't mean you don't have to work though, Jim.
no, I wish it did. Committees and commission and department reports. Campview Franchise Negotiations Committee. We have not done any formal negotiations with Spectrum Charter lately. We've been kind of applying pressure to them through neighborhoods that express an interest, helping neighborhoods call in and try to encourage them to do build out in their neighborhood. And I'm very happy to report that any day now, or any week now, knowing charter and with the weather, we are very close to having the largest contiguous section of the town fully installed, which is on Sampsonville Road,
Great.
your Sheldon Hill, all the way out to High Point Road. They've been burying the cable. And I did speak to the cable installer last week. And he expected them out there like, pretty like last weekend. So I'm not sure if it's hooked up yet or about to be, but that's very close. And I'm very happy for those people. They've been lobbying for that for a long time. I've been working with them for years trying to get that to build out. And it's really nice to see it happening. That's all I have to report on cable. Parks and Rec, Mr. Kelder, you're up.
So we did meet. Our preliminary discussion was about short-term rentals and the use of the pool. So everybody's seen a preliminary draft of adopting some kind of fee for short-term rental owners to allow their tenants to use the pool. I think there's some tweaking we got to do and some wordage. But I think something that we'll look at. We're not sure if we're going to get some use out of it, but I think there's a way to generate some income and maybe get some more pool usage from our community. The other big thing is, for the audience that doesn't know, is our playground equipment in Davis Park was completely destroyed by a tree falling down. We're waiting on the insurance company to come back with what they say the value is. And we'll source out a new playground equipment for the park.
I saw that today, that he couldn't have dropped that tree better if he tried to kill the equipment.
I had someone today I was talking to about another matter, and their kids interrupted and asked when the playground's going to be ready. They saw that. So I told them we're working on it. We're going to try to get it by the spring. So hopefully
There's a new monkey bar there. They can climb on the tree.
There you go. No. Don't even say that. Anything else, Scott?
That's it. We just gotta, hopefully get through COVID, and we'll start talking about summer programs, spring and summer. But we're kind of at the mercy of COVID right now.
So is that pool, that going back to the pool fees structure, you want us to look at that, tone it up a little bit, and then bring it to the board for a motion to adopt?
Yeah, I mean, the biggest thing is the fee for the landowner, the VRB owner, and that number we came up with was $500 to allow their users. That was committee's recommendation, and I don't think it's unfair. I think it brings that property some value when they rent it. We just have to decide if that's the route we want to go to offer that many more people coming to the pool.
Yeah, what I'd like to do between now and next month is, if I can find some time to, and if there's anybody in the county I can reach with all this COVID working from home stuff, to see how many Airbnbs we have, and maybe we'll want to, in tandem with that, sign that contract to know how many Airbnbs are in town. So we have a reporting record that should, I want to make sure that the county still has that program, because I know they signed on with Airbnb to get funding, to have a pass through on the funding, the tax for that. But I don't believe the Airbnb agreement shows them what the properties are, but they did, prior to that signing, have a third party that was on maybe a weekly or monthly basis, evaluating all of the short-term rental sites and coming up with addresses. So if you were a town, you could sign on and get that. So I'll look into that and see if that's the route we want to take. And we can discuss that at the next meeting and do a sweeping STR pool fee restructure.
Jim, I have a question about that. Should that be added to our existing fee structure document as opposed to having something separate where we have fees for I don't remember what it's called, but it's.
I know that fee structure document, I was looking at it, is something I would like to address sometime this year. Yeah, but I don't know if it has pool fees on there.
Does
Okay.
not.
Oh, it
It
doesn't?
doesn't,
Okay,
okay.
all right, that's
Well,
fine.
All the park stuff is separate from that. That's basically building and zoning permits and that's it on that.
Okay,
Got the dog fee,
Yeah, the
license
parks.
fees and stuff
Yeah.
like that. It's basically your department, Dawn, and building, right?
No, it doesn't even have my department. It's basically, that page schedule is basically building and zoning.
It's not, it doesn't have license fees for dogs and burn
I
permits?
don't
and
think
what-
so.
Oh, okay, we'll have to look. I'll look at it when I get a chance.
I just looked at it today and it didn't even have title searches on it.
Oh, really?
And I was trying to find out what the title search fee was.
Our
Right.
fee structure predates title searches probably.
that raises the question, is at some point in time, should we have a single document that has all of our fees in it? Instead of 2 or 3 documents here and there?
Well, the pool is kind of a more flexible thing. I like keeping that separate, from the
Well,
others.
I think the idea of a short-term rental owner to be, that's a substantial fee. So having that there, I think it goes hand in hand with zoning or building, that maybe that makes sense to have at least that there.
Because
Okay.
eventually we're gonna have the fees for having
For
a
the
short-term
short-term.
rental added to that document.
Oh, okay. All right, well, we'll work on putting that together at some point in one large cohesive thing. We'll take a look at it, see if it makes sense. But between now and the next meeting, we can work on the proposal for the pool fee structure and at least get that resolved for the season. Okay? Anything else, Scott?
That's it.
Okay, Mr. Burns, you're on. But no, you're not on. You got to turn your microphone on there.
He's got to get Avery to help him.
Sorry about that.
Avery!
Yeah,
Go ahead, Brian, you're on.
can you hear me now or no?
I can.
Yeah, absolutely.
Okay, very good. No, Scott, I'll just touch on the buildings. I did get that email today.
Okay.
Gene and I have been talking and we're going to get together when the weather cooperates a little bit better here as far as laying out the potential metal building there moving forward in that area. We've discussed it quite a bit and I'm going to come up with a game plan moving into the future to accommodate larger scale vehicles and whatnot, and just something that would be efficient. And that was a great email there today to review. I just glanced at it briefly this afternoon. So Gene and I will collaborate on that and we'll get that moving along too. But in respect to highway, it's been busy with winter stuff. We kind of beginning part of January, we're dealing with the Christmas storm there, a lot of washouts, a lot of ditch work. We were able to address and get back into shape again. Still addressing a lot of our problematic ash trees. I have a tremendous list compiled and we're chipping away at that. And the snow has been keeping us pretty busy. I really don't have too much to report other than that at this time. Things are going well. Equipment's holding up pretty well. So looking forward to COVID behind us as well, and a break and some nice weather, So
Great.
Supplies are all good?
yeah,
Good.
Things going well.
'Cause I have a feeling this February is not going to relent.
No,
Yeah.
Okay, Drew, Police Commission.
Yeah, the police commission was going to meet last Monday, but just as we were about to sign on to a Zoom meeting, the power went out everywhere and they ultimately decided to cancel the meeting. Dawn, did you happen to get a police report from Chief Ryan?
I did, somehow it didn't make it into my folder to come home. So it is available in the town clerk's office if anybody wants to review it. I thought I had it in here, but I was going through things tonight and I didn't find it. Sorry.
And I believe that the police commission decided earlier today that going forward, they're going to do an in-person meeting at the Bostock Meeting Hall, since there's only about 5 of us that meet for that commission.
I can also give you a little report on the police task force. We have got a pretty good draft of our plan to submit to the town board at the March meeting for recommendations that we of different policing, community policing things that we looked at in the town as per the governor's directive to do a analysis of the town police forces. So we will be coming up with a plan. One of the things that was on this, and I talked to the chief about, and I talked to one of the officers, was to have the Olive Police Facebook page a little bit more active than it's been. We had an officer doing it who's no longer with us, and we talked to one officer who looks like he could be a part-timer for a long time here. So he's expressed an interest. I did mention to Sean that maybe he should talk to the commission and see if they want to, if they can find a budgetary way to provide a stipend for maintaining that. Since all our police officers are part-time, you might have a person that works 1 day a week, but depending on what's going on in the year, might have to be on Facebook 3-4 times a week to update the page. So I wanted to look into that and make a recommendation to us. We have some suggestions on how a couple of different procedural things that we'd like to see done, and a couple of outreach things to the community. And we'll submit the plan to the police commission and to the board for review once we've gotten to a point where we feel it's finalized. Okay. Anything else on the police? Dawn, what do you got for us?
My report is that the town clerk's office itself took in $14,568.30. As far as taxes, as of January, we took in $7,309,020.77. That is now up over $8.5 million. And that's all that for that. I have a first aid company. Total calls was 28, 13 to Shokan, 8 to Olive Bridge, 3 to Boyceville, 2 to West Shokan, 1 to Sampsonville, and 1 to West Turley. I also have the report for the sewer district that will be available in the office if anybody needs to review it. And I am done.
Great. Scenic Byway, Drew.
We have not met since our last town board meeting. I don't have anything to report on that then.
Okay. Oh, Dawn, I am not the liaison to the CAC. That would be Mr. Edinger.
I will change it.
There's always something. We all looked at it and we still like, there's always something that slips through.
And it's the same every month, so I just copy and paste.
All right, David, what do you got for us? You're muted. Look at that. The guy running the meeting is muted.
You're muted.
I muted my headset instead of on Zoom, so it confused me. You've seen the results of most of what we were working on.
Right.
We still working on climate smart, getting climate smart really up and running. I think we should be able to get pretty close to bronze once the CCA is adopted. So within a year, or hopefully more like 9 months, and that could open up some possibilities for grant funding, or at least put us higher priority for it. Let's see what else we have. On the NRI, I have a lot of the files downloaded. Tomorrow I'll have all the maps on the website, like directly on the website with all the links fixed. And Dawn, if you need any help getting the NRI on there as well, I can help you with that.
That will probably be Rebecca.
Oh, true. Do that.
Because I don't have it to get.
Right.
It went to Rebecca.
Okay. Yeah. So I'll reach out to her.
She'll be in tomorrow, so.
Okay. We have a lot of things going on. Jim has encouraged us to pare it back a little bit, so I'm going to kind of keep it a little simplified here. We want to start doing some educational programs when, especially when we can get back in person, about things like pollinator gardens, invasive species, that sort of thing. If any of you guys have any ideas of things you'd like to see us do in that mode for Raymond, more for late summer, right, when we can hopefully do something, you know, at the library or somewhere else in person. We'd love any ideas any of you guys have. I know there's more, but I'm blanking, and that's probably enough.
I have a quick question, David.
Absolutely.
I think it was last month, Simon mentioned that you guys, they were working on a.
That was the other thing.
Are they
Yeah,
still working?
We're meeting next Wednesday to really get it. We realized that each month it kind of kept getting dropped. So we made a meeting at our last meeting for
Okay.
our subcommittee to meet and nail that down. We hope to have something for you, maybe not by the next town board meeting, but by 2 zoning meetings, we should have something to you.
Okay, that's fine with me.
What is it you're working on? I didn't.
The
catch
solar
Solar.
code.
Solar
Solar
code.
code.
Solar code. Okay.
And there's solar possibilities around town. So we'd like to get that code in sooner than later so that we have some say and control over that when it happens.
Okay.
Thank you.
Um,
I'd forgotten that one.
anything else? That's it?
No, that's good.
Okay, thank you, David. Zoning, Drew.
Okay, so at the last zoning committee meeting, which was, I think, January 19th, we had a very good meeting of input on the short-term rental document that Diana had put together. She and I need to get together and try to put that into place so we can talk about it at our meeting next week, next Thursday on the 18th. I'm hoping that if the committee generally agrees with what we've got, that we can at least start thinking about passing along. I assume you would like to review it first, Jim, before we pass it to the town board, is at least a look at it and see.
I'd like to
think.
get a look at it and see what you guys got in mind. Yeah.
Okay. It's a lot of it's based on,
Rochester.
well, we started out with Marbletown and Woodstock stuff, and then we brought in Rochester, and then Diana did a lot of research and brought in some other stuff. So it kind of lays out a fairly, I call it a fairly strict control over STRs if we decide to go down that road. So,
Including limiting the number of them.
yeah. Yeah. It does things like banning LLCs from owning a bunch of them in town, things like that.
Yep.
There's a lot of controls on it as far as safety and access and that sort of thing.
Maybe one of the things that you could look into between now and then is when you adopt something like this, how it affects existing businesses, if they're grandfathered in, or if they have to conform to all the regulations, or if there's a grace period for them to conform. That would be very helpful.
I
We're
would,
talking about grace period. Essentially, that where it'd be a renewal period.
Okay.
And that when you hit your renewal period, that's when you have to be in conformity with the.
right.
Right.
And we could probably decide how to handle that when we adopt it into
Yeah.
the code. But yeah, the general idea is everybody that has an STR in town has to basically get a permit every year or get it renewed through the code enforcement officer.
Mhm.
So I would say if we were to pass it like now, then whoever's got an STR would have to do a permit towards the end of the year
Right.
and meet all those requirements for next year.
Right. I know Diana and I spoke as well as having a separate annual fire inspection to make sure that there are smoke detectors and it's compliant with egress and things like that.
Right.
So we need to, we were talking, and you might want to bring this up in your meetings about, looking at somebody to hire on a part-time basis to do fire inspections, that we create a fee structure and a pay structure for them to do that on a per site.
We were talking about that at the last meeting as well.
Right.
Okay.
Yeah, what we're trying to do is not drop this on the code enforcement officer's shoulders to do all those inspections.
Right.
Maybe one way would also be to have a list of acceptable inspectors that the owner of the STR could go to and get the inspection done at their cost.
Hmm.
So that, those are some of the things we need to look at. Because there's a lot of different ways to go. But anyway, we're working on that. And I have it on my plate to get the documents in order to for the small changes we made to the zoning code and the subdivision code to start thinking about moving that ahead.
Is there any thought about like campsites and yurts and those sort of rentals?
Yeah, I think once we get past the STRs, I think that's going to be the next thing we got to look at. 'cause
Yeah,
there's
it's
a
already
lot of-
coming up.
Oh,
It's
yeah.
coming up.
Oh,
And
yeah.
we really don't have anything in our code that addresses it directly.
Mhm.
But there's several towns south of here in the Warsing area that deal with it more than we do. And so we can probably steal some stuff from their codes.
Great.
And I'm sure Rochester's got something.
I did see it came up before the planning board a month or two ago.
Yes.
You know, for somebody who wanted a very modest little campsite on a property.
He's made it even more modest than the
But
original
it-
proposal
Yeah.
at that. He's down to 2.
They took it down to two tent platforms.
Right, but it did raise a lot of very interesting
Oh, yeah.
questions. You know,
Absolutely.
About
Sanitation
sanitary
and-
facilities, water, electric,
Yeah.
garbage. You know, it
Noise.
opens up a whole door of things.
And it
So-
does go back and then the existing code we've written for STRs, it does not allow those things to be used as STRs.
That's the way
Yeah.
they're used, though. I mean, they have a site a lot like Airbnb to rent those things.
Yes.
So essentially, it's the same thing.
But our proposal excludes them from
Yeah,
it.
interesting. Okay.
So how would they be included if they're excluded from STRs?
I think there has to be some kind of regulation of campsites, which I was looking at it recently at the zoning code. And there's nothing there.
Right.
So that, I
So it
think,
would be specific to camping
yeah,
apart from STR. You want
Yeah.
it separated. I see what you
Yeah.
mean.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that makes sense. Okay. Anything else, Drew?
I think that's it for now.
Okay. David, do you have the new website up and running yet?
Yeah, sure.
You're out for
We did
technology.
we did meet and discuss with the folks in the office what they were looking for and what they wanted. We're meeting, Diana and I are meeting with Pete from Wiltwick tomorrow
Yeah.
to get this really going full bore, as well as talk about some of the things I experienced trying to mess with the site today. Also, I want to get a new domain name for us. So like townofolive.com as well as .org and .gov if I can get it. We can have all of those as well as this URL we currently use, and they'd all go to the same site, the same place. I think it'd be a little more friendly in some ways to have a new domain. They're relatively cheap. I think it might be like $10 a month. So at some point I'll just need you to approve that and I can go ahead and get those and get that moving forward. Right now we're looking at just moving what we have over into a better format, a more logical format, but the content would essentially stay the same unless people revise the pages now in the next couple weeks. Like we're
Yeah.
looking at doing fillable forms, replacing all of our forms with online fillable forms
That'd be
before
great.
we move.
that's great.
I know Diana and other folks are already starting with that. I believe Amanda was already playing with, or Sierra was already playing with it as well. So that'd be a big step forward because right now, for one thing, a lot of our forms look like they were just scanned and rescanned again and then posted. So they're not really
Yes.
ideal anyway.
Right.
They all need to be redone,
Yes.
and that's a good opportunity.
Have you reached out to the planning board chair and the zoning board chair as to what they think they need on the website?
Well, as I said, right now we're mostly going to move things relatively as is, just to more logical containers with the same content. And then we're going to make each of those little fiefdoms, give them a little control over their site and work with them to get something that still fits in with the rest of the website, but is their own area.
Okay.
And ideally, we'll have user logins where they can go in and actually post some of their own things and update some of their own information with some oversight, and wouldn't be able to touch any other areas, just their own pages.
Okay, good.
What I would like to, I mean, I think we're very fortunate, and I thank you and everyone else working on this, because as you know, this is like my, the thorn in my side.
It's pretty awful.
'Cause I have to work with it all the time. And one of the things that I've noticed recently, and, you know, not to blame anybody or anything, it's just the way it evolves, is that we need to address who's responsible for what input on the website. So for instance, we just earlier were talking about something in with the NRI, and Dawn was like, no, that's Rebecca. We need to make those really clear so that we know who's responsible for what on the website. I know that Dawn has meeting minutes and there are Zoom meeting minutes in there, and they're not even in chronological order. They're all over the map. It's you scratch your head when you go in there. So we need to get that addressed so everybody knows what they should be working on, and you know, it's not like, well, that's theirs, not mine. You know, there needs to be some clarity on that as we move forward.
Right. Our site is what happens when you don't have that. So that's part of the idea going forward, is to lock that down and have kind of standards that people are following on how to do things and who does things, and and what the oversight is, so that more than one person might be responsible, but someone else should occasionally be checking that that another area looks good. So everyone will have their own responsibilities when we're done with this.
My were in chronological order, but when you add those Zoom meetings, and then I got yelled at because I was sending them as a PDF. Didn't really get yelled at. He apologized if he sounded like that, but it was.
Who yelled at? Did I yell at you?
No. I got an email from Pete because I put my minutes up in PDF form, and they're not handicap accessible in PDF form.
I wouldn't so much worry about it until we get on the new site.
I am not lecturing you. I said, well, I wasn't feeling lectured until you told me you weren't. So what I did is forward that whole email over to Diana and said, deal with it at your meeting.
Yeah.
So that's where that is. But they were in chronological, and then but they put the transcripts from the recordings up. I put my written ones up.
All right, so that needs to be cleaned up, stuff like that. I mean, we're always scratching our head on where to put things, and you know, it's pretty embarrassing when I go in and I'm looking for something and I can't find it, and have to like call Rebecca and say, where is this on the website? I can't find it.
Well, yesterday I got the log on for the admin, and this weekend I'm going to go in and I'm going to clean up a lot of that stuff. So by Monday it should be a little better.
But I don't want you to do it, David. You have a lot of responsibility now. You're doing all the meetings, the Zoom meetings, and facilitating them. This should not be something that's your responsibility. The town office should be able to figure this out.
Diana gave me today some things that I should go through mine and check off and do stuff. So she just to me right before we left today. I'll go over that with Amanda, and we'll get rid of what we kind of did, what Rosendale had on theirs, and what I don't need and what I do need. So we will. Diana's already in the process of starting some of those of what each page should look like.
Okay, sounds good. I mean, I think we're moving in the right direction. I'll be real excited to get rid of this one and onto another one. I get a lot of calls about it, and I probably get like about a dozen or more emails a week that I have to respond to for people who are inquiring to me about things that are readily available on the website.
That'll still happen.
Whether it's whatever, you know, it's time consuming.
What it's worth, we don't have the worst website in Ulster, but
it's got to be closed.
We are in contention.
You'd be amazed.
The oldest.
Anything else on technology, David?
No, that's been our main focus. It's just the website.
Okay, great. Scott, I think you're last up here.
Yeah, short and sweet. Brian touched on it. We did not meet due to schedules and storms, but we've been sharing some information and emails and phone calls, talking about the steel building that needs to be replaced at the town highway garage. I'm confident by the next meeting we'll have a design, or at least the size layout, and hopefully some preliminary plans to go forward with the project. So just bear with us.
I like that. I like the interest rates are low, like we have an opportunity here in one way to, take advantage of what's out there right now. And we have a need to do it. So I don't see why we shouldn't be moving forward on this as soon as we can.
We will.
Okay. Anything else, Scotty?
That's it.
Okay. I see we have some guests. That anybody want to address the board out there?
Should be able to unmute yourself if you
If
want
you
to.
would, yeah, unmute yourself and you can chime in if you want to have a comment to the board.
I did get a couple chats from Cynthia Nikitin. She had to
Yes.
leave, so I figured I would just read them out. She's disappointed about not getting the Nature Conservancy grant, but she said she really wanted to encourage you to contact Annie Berg and ask for a debrief. I said you're already on it, but that I would read it out. And she also is interested in whatever she needs to do to put in for the Musser Fund grant.
Well, we are discussing that with amongst ourselves as to whom we want to select for that. We haven't made that decision. We said we would make that at the next meeting, next month. We were going to think about it and kind of weigh it out between us.
So she's interested. It's just a letter of interest in our resume, right?
Yeah, I thought you shared our resume with everyone.
Well, I pretty much did, but it wasn't from her. It wasn't whatever she wanted to say.
Mhm.
It was just her
Are you
website.
Are you get a cut on this? You're an agent?
Just about, yeah.
Oh, I see.
Did
Okay.
you want something brief from about the planning board?
Yes, thank you. We should put the planning board on here just to give us updates. So Vicky can keep us going, keep us informed as to what's going on the planning board, because they're pretty busy lately.
They are very busy. At the last meeting, they approved, there was a public hearing and it was approved for Rice Plumbing to move into the place where there was a daycare on 28.
Yes.
There's going to be a public hearing on the Sailor Mill project next Tuesday. And
That's
it's,
on the seeker review, right?
well,
Right.
they went through the seeker at the last meeting and it is on that, yeah.
Okay.
The date on that, do you know? What would that be?
That's
The
the-
16th?
16th.
Yes.
Okay,
And it's expected there will be a lot of folks there.
okay. I know we did get some correspondence from Mr., I think it's Chan,
Uh-huh.
from the Neil Martz subdivision,
Uh-huh.
and him, I think maybe some neighbors signed it. It was a planning board thing and they're dealing with it,
Yes.
but he is concerned about the decision they made there. I don't know, he was looking to go to ZBA, I think, and the ZBA said this is not a zoning issue. It's not under our purview to,
Right, it's a planning board issue, so.
it's a planning board issue, so they gave him, they showed him the town law on how to proceed.
Yeah, I think I also told him that at this point, once it's approved like that, they have to Article 78 it, and once it's filed with the board, the clerk's office, they have 30 days to file it. And so he's been informed of that.
Did that get filed with you?
Yes, it did.
Okay, good.
I don't know
And
what
that's-
exactly is.
That's what the response from Janelle was forwarded to him from ZBA with the town code showing him that he could
Yes.
keep Article 78.
And I know I gave that to him when they were in and looking at the file, so.
And
Yeah.
then there was also some discussion about the planning that's going on for Bread Alone.
Oh, okay.
The-
How is that progressing? What's
Oh, well,
going on there?
The county planning board wrote a letter saying that they thought the plans were fabulous. They really encouraged the planning board to approve it. So that's going to move forward.
Great.
Yeah, the county's viewpoint on that was almost like a classic example of an excellent site plan.
Yes. And their plans are extensive. And if it's as they've shown in their plans and designs, it's going to be quite lovely.
Yes.
What, can you give us a general idea what they're doing there? I have no idea what they're doing there.
They're changing the whole parking. They're expanding the parking. They're expanding the space to eat outdoors, and they're gonna have native plantings and.
Yeah, no more parking in front of the building. That's
Right,
gonna be
no more
cheap.
in front of
That
the
goes
building.
away.
It's I can send you the drawings. They're beautiful.
And baking,
Yeah, they're gonna be, yeah,
specialty baking will
Yes.
return to Boyce Hill.
Good.
Yeah.
Sounds nice. It's the kind of thing we want on Route 28.
Yeah.
Great.
Indeed.
I think they got quite a bit of solar included on their stuff
yes, they
too.
do. They do. And they've got a whole.
Parking
plan
lot solar.
They've got a whole plan for water. I forget the term.
Stormwater?
for
Yeah, stormwater mitigation.
Stormwater mitigation, but it's beautiful, the plan that they
Yeah.
have. It's got plantings tied into it. It's just very nice.
That's really great. You know, they might be able to get, maybe I'll call them, they might be able to be eligible for some stormwater funding from CWC for that.
I'm sure they'd welcome that.
Yeah.
So the planning board is very busy, and it looks like it's going to be busy going into the future.
Great. All right. Anything else?
Nope.
Nothing else? Everybody good? Everybody ready to go home?
Yes.
Oh, you are home. Everybody ready to go to bed? All right. I make a motion to adjourn in memory of Arlos, Bucky Avery, and Claire Kasser. Do I have a second?
I'll second.
All in favor?
I
Aye.
I'd
Thank
like to
you,
make a
everyone.
comment about Claire. I didn't know she passed away, but I haven't seen her in years, but I worked with her years ago on the, when we had Olive Matters group,
Uh-huh.
and sorry to see she's passed.
Yeah, and Bucky, everybody knew Bucky and his family from West Shokan and the bus garage and everything, so.
Yep.
Sad to see them go.
Yep.
Indeed.
All right, well, thank you, everyone.
All right,
Everybody.
Have a good night.
Good night,
Good night.
everyone.
Right.
you too.
See you soon. Thank you.